And I think we're back.
I don't know why every time we start a live, my counter starts out at 20 seconds every single time.
Huh. I don't know. Mine started out at 0.
Huh.
So right off the bat, Bad Tree Productions is back in here. Quality Control, of course, is here.
First
First
Responder
Responder
Garage is
Garage,
here.
Pure Pontiac Garage is here.
Hey, Square Buddy stuff is here too.
Hey, there he is. That is the link if you want to get in on live. So everyone else can see your pretty face or at least hear your voice, or you could talk live.
Thank you, First Responder, for that part number. I'll have to check that
Yeah.
out.
And he said that was kind of what they use on tooling and stuff. That
No, he said it was different than that. It's some type. It's like I'm guessing it's some type of maybe like a cosmoline. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah.
He says uses it to preserve stuff. Like I'm guessing it's some type of heavy. I honestly don't know. I've never heard of that stuff, but I'm just spitballing because I don't know.
So yeah, we covered quite a bit in the first part of the live. Anybody showing up that's wasn't a part of the first one, we were kind of discussing different additives, oil additives, steel additives, also
penetrating oil and
penetrating oil. Yeah.
All kinds of different stuff.
Yeah. Ugly Truck's back for the after hours. Yeah, they're the ones that brought up the WD-40 versus PB Blaster. So that was good stuff. And
that's a huge rabbit hole.
It is. I guess it could be somewhat controversial. And I know Jerry with Ugly Truck Experience, he likes his bottle of WD-40 also.
That's one of those things where every time I see somebody using it, like I think it was one of your videos, I saw you using it. I'm like, oh, I need to get me one of those, and then I never do, and then I'm wishing that I had it. And
see, I got my spray bottles from like an ag, like a garden ag center thing.
Yeah.
I guess the wind's blowing. I keep hearing stuff.
Doesn't it say WD-40 on it, the one you have though?
No. But it's got the tube inside of it. It's kind of like it's supposed to be flexible and has a weighted end.
Okay.
Like a kind of like a chainsaw or something like that. So you can actually hold it upside down and spray it.
Oh,
but
nice.
But apparently it's not compatible with WD-40 because now that tube is hard. It don't do its thing. So, but it still works. It didn't melt it or anything, but it's the hose is turned solid, so it don't. So I can't spray upside down.
I buy Zep spray bottles from Home Depot. I really like those.
Yeah.
They seem to work good.
Yep. Yeah, I've bought WD-40 by the gallon for many years because when I was modifying the chainsaws and doing a lot of grinding, cutting on aluminum, it worked really great for a cutting fluid for aluminum.
Okay.
Maybe not the best, but it was cheap and it worked.
I have used it for that before, actually. I every time I get a drill bit out and I start drilling on something and I have to use PB Blaster as cutting fluid, I think, you know what, I need to order some cutting fluid. And then I don't, and then I get the drill bit out and I use PB Blaster and I think I need to order some cutting fluid and I don't. And I'm kind of in a loop right now.
Yeah.
Never think about it until you need it.
Yeah, at work, we have actual cutting fluid, and if I'm drilling something at work or something like that, we got to work a lot of stainless. And if you don't have some sort of cutting fluid with stainless, you could, well, if
Gotta
you
have a
go
lot of drill
slow,
bits.
it's not too bad. But all it takes is one revolution going too fast, and then your bit is done.
I
So
used to work on stainless reefer trailers, so
yeah.
I feel you there.
Yeah. So, but if I'm drilling something at work, I use the actual cutting fluid, or if I'm tapping a hole and use Tap Magic, I'm like, why don't I buy this stuff for myself at my shop? Because it would make my life so much better.
So the Tap Magic is the cutting oil that we used a lot.
Yeah.
And we have I think it's CRC. It's in a spray can, but I hate it because it comes out and it's like a heavy foam, and
Yeah,
I don't
I've
like it.
seen
Like it works good if you can get it to stay on the drill bit. But most of the time, it's not on the drill bit. It just kind of, I don't know.
swings
I don't
off.
like it. Yeah, like it doesn't. I don't know. I need to get something because my drill bits. I don't have any good drill bits, but the ones that I have are suffering from the PB Blaster as the cutting fluid.
Yeah, I've done real good. My drill index that I got some nice drills, and I've done really, really good about not breaking them or dulling them. Uh, so far, I think I've lost one, the smallest one, which I don't remember. It's pretty small, but I also have uh, that little drill index, or that pin vise,
Yeah,
like like a or the power valve, or the drill, or
squirter.
the jet squirter enlarger tool,
Yes.
which I went to use mine the other day. I was like, and realized that some of my bits. Oh, I was drilling the holes in the oil galley plugs for the front of this block,
Yeah.
and I was looking through all my little bits. Like, I know I bought a brand new set not too long ago. Where are those at?
They're in my
And
trailer.
I'm like, oh, I give those a try.
Yeah, and I have 100 little drill bits that we bought that day, and ended
Yeah,
up using the one you bought me
yeah,
because I didn't have any way to chuck them. Like you have
yeah,
to have a special drill to chuck a tiny drill bit like that. Somebody was just doing a video on that, and they had a special drill that they used that would chuck all the way down to those really tiny bits.
yeah. What I do is I'll chuck it into the pin vise that it comes with, and then I'll chuck the pin vise into the drill.
Oh, okay.
The only problem is you end up, it's quite long, and that pin vise isn't quite accurate, so it kind of. I don't know if you've seen that part of the video. It was just a little bit of a video I stuck in there of me trying to drill those uh,
I
plugs.
don't recall seeing it, but I'm sure I watched the video because I think I've seen all the ones you've put out so far.
Yeah, they're hard, and
Yeah.
one of the holes ended up being just a little bit bigger than the other two because I ended up breaking the bit off in it.
Yeah, that little tiny 16th inch drill bit comes in a drill index. I don't
Yeah,
think I ever have kept one of those more than the second
no,
time I used it.
yep. And then when you're using what was it, 30? I think these are 30 thousandths. What I was drilling into those
Oh wow.
plugs, and those plugs are fairly hard. They're not, they're not just regular carbon steel. They're a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So you gotta really take your time. But yeah. Anybody in the chat has a comment, or has a topic you want to talk about or want to bring up, go ahead, and we'll discuss it. We're just kind of after hours hanging out. Steiner's back here. What's going on? I don't know. Anything you want to talk about, Travis? That we haven't. A rabbit trail, or off topic?
I'm I'm thinking.
I guess something we didn't. Quality control brought it up in the last one.
Oh yeah,
Well, actually, what Steiner's saying right now, she mentioned us talking about the truck gathering, the truck show that's coming up in Norman, Oklahoma, April 15th, I think it is.
Don't get me lying to you.
Yeah, I think it's April 15th. Yeah, truck show, Norman, Oklahoma, April 15th. I'm going. Travis is going. There's 500 trucks entered. They had to be pre-registered. They filled those spots already. If anybody watching is interested and you didn't get pre-registered, there's no buy-ins. Like if you show up with your truck, you can't buy a ticket to get your truck in the show. But they do have a waiting list. Right now, they have a waiting list. If you want to go and you didn't pre-register, get your name on a waiting list. So, and Mike Pinnell, he's the one putting this thing on. He's got a waiting list, so you can, if someone drops out, says they can't make it, he's got a list of everybody, so he can, just go down that list, the next person that's on the waiting list, and pass on the registration to them. But they only had enough room for 500 trucks, so, but it's going to be an awesome show because it's all trucks. I think I think the newest they're letting in is like maybe 1990. I can't remember how new, but
my truck's in 90 and I'm in, so
yeah. I'm thinking they had a cutoff on the year model.
I think it was 95 if I'm not mistaken.
It may be. Yeah, Mrs. Square Body's.
Yeah, got our back.
Yeah. So yeah, we're planning on going. One of the things that Travis and I had talked about a few months ago when we first had this idea of going was they were going, because Travis is in Alabama, I'm in Southern Missouri, and then the truck show's in Oklahoma. So Travis and Amber were going to meet up with us, and we were going to drive. Well, Travis was going to drive his truck, the spare parts Dodge,
Extra parts.
and I was going, huh?
Extra parts
Dodge, and I was going to drive Squeaky, and the women folk were going to drive in comfort in one of the nicer vehicles. So, but after thinking about it, I really just don't want to drive this thing for 5 hours.
Yeah.
So, because it's just gonna be a long trip, and I'd be wore out by the time we even got there. I'm not worried about the breakdowns. I'm not worried about any of that. I'm just worried about me being wore out when we get there and not having fun once we get there. Because we plan on, we're trying to plan on go Friday, because Friday evening or Friday afternoon they're gonna have a poker run, and I've never done a poker run. Have you ever done a poker run, Travis?
I have not. No.
Okay. So they're gonna do a poker run around that area. It's kind of a benefit thing. They're gonna have some cool prizes for the poker run. So we're gonna get in on that and drive. I'll be driving Squeaky for the poker run, and I guess if Travis and Amber get in it, they'll probably be driving Extra Parts Dodge. Yeah, it's gonna be, now the poker run is open to anybody. It's not pre-registered or anything like that. So that'd be kind of cool. I've never done a poker run. I think it'll be fun just to drive around and have some fun.
So the way the poker run works is basically you have to go to different meeting spots and you get a card at each meeting spot, and the best hand wins, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think
That's what I thought.
I think there's 5 stops, and I think for an extra dollar amount, I don't remember what it was, you could buy a 6th card and use the best 5 cards that you have to have the best hand. So and so yeah, it'd be kind of cool. I think on Facebook and maybe Instagram that Mike has got the stops already pre-planned to where we kind of know where we're going. I can't remember any of them off the top of my head. So, all right, I'm gonna Steve Heighton is asking expected completion of the 339. Well, I wish I could say, and I hope nobody thinks that I'm just being lazy, or well, that's maybe part of it sometimes, but I'm not trying to drag this out for theatrics or anything. It's just my work schedule, everything going on. I don't necessarily need the engine running right now because the truck does run. So actually, right now I'm taking a break from the engine to do some work on the truck because we're going to be hopefully taking it to test and tune at the local drag strip this Saturday. So I've got some stuff to do the truck, so I got to take a break from the engine, the 339. But I have made some good headway on it. I've got a couple videos that I've got to edit to kind of catch everybody up where I'm at on it. There is a cylinder head torqued down on it. It will be taken back off, but at least it's torqued on because there's a bottom end in it. It's a short block, pretty much. Yeah, I won't divulge everything that I told Travis about that's going on with the short block right now. I did have a little bit of a setback, but I'll discuss that in a video later on. But I do have the cylinder head bolted on it. I can't really see it in the right there.
Yeah.
It's in the bag. Because I had to check for push rod length and ended up needing quite a bit longer push rods than the stock ones.
Is that because of those heads?
Heads, the block being decked, possibly the aftermarket rocker arms. Just I'm not sure if the valve stems are longer than stock, which would have something to do with it. It's a combination of
everything.
So, and that would be one of the things I go over in the video when I do a video with push rod length. Is it's not just. I don't remember how much they took off the deck, the block, but it's zero deck, so my pistons are level with the top of the block. So quite a bit was taken off there. Difference in cylinder heads. We got a 40,000 head gasket. So just a little bit of everything can add up pretty quick on your valve train geometry to get it right.
Yep.
But that's about the best I can tell you. I'm getting to it as quick as I can. So I wish it was already done, but Richard's wanting to go down the rabbit hole of cam lube. Wait a minute. Let me get ready for that one. Well, we might circle back to that one. What you got in your jar there, Travis?
Water, same as always.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. I was just clearing in a jar. I was getting kind of excited.
Nothing exciting here.
Okay, first responders use a.
That is a tiny drill bit.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you need to drill a 13,000? Is that 13,000th hole in?
Okay, so Mrs. Square Body, apparently me and Travis have had an idea that I haven't divulged to Mrs. Square Body yet.
That would be the driving the truck thing.
Probably. And sometimes I don't bring stuff up to her until I know for sure what I'm going to do. Not to hide anything from her, but and then sometimes I just don't think about saying anything because I forget. By the time I go from the shop or talk to someone and I see her, then my mind's in a whole different world. And oh, okay, yeah.
When we met you for I think breakfast that one time,
Yeah.
that's when we were talking about driving. You were talking about driving Squeaky and
Yeah. Yep. No, that's all right, first responder. Me and Travis move pretty slow anyways, so you're probably already way ahead of this comment. So
yeah.
Stack up.
That's the for push rod length. All the stuff stacks up.
Oh, yep, yep, it does. Yep, yep. It's one of those things that any rebuild. It's one of those things you really need to check if especially if you're using any aftermarket parts.
Yeah.
I really didn't think there was going to be that much of a difference, but it was. I can't remember now what it was. I can't remember what the stock push rod length is for small block Chevy, but I think I had to order 7.950s or 7.955s, and it just so happened that the roughly the size I needed was had a big selection of that size. So it's like a common size. The step above and step below was like they only had one choice, on Summit.
I think my 440 currently has. I think it has big block Chevy either intake or exhaust push rods in it. Is what the size I ended up needing for it. I was fortunate enough to find something that was off the shelf, so I didn't have to order or do custom push rods.
Yeah, and I can't remember what big block push rods are. The
And I'd
exhaust.
be lying to you if I told you what length they are because I
Yeah,
don't remember. I think they're 100 thousandths shorter than what the 440 push rods were because they were too long. And
yeah,
when I first put it together, I put it together with the 440 push rods, knowing it wasn't right, but just to get it running. And I had to, I was able to take the adjustment up with the rocker, but it wasn't right. So I had to, when I fixed it to go actually take it racing, I had to measure for the right push rods, and I ended up with something. I think big block Chevy is what they were, but I don't recall for sure. Yeah,
uh,
that Suburban has. He said he put 439,000 miles on it before he rebuilt it. That's a
yeah.
lot of miles.
That is. Uh, yeah. So Mr. Squarebody is asking what year the Suburban is. First responder was using that. Oh, hey, answer that question. It's an
Oh,
'88.
88. Awesome.
I had an '88 Suburban at one time. I wish I still had it. It was nice. It was clean. It was a California, or it come from California, so it didn't have any rust. It was dark metallic blue with the beige cream color in the middle. Silverado package, had tan interior. It was it it was a half ton, but it had I added some springs or leaves to the rear to get the Suburban sag out of the back end because they always sag in the back.
Yeah.
I think 32 1150s on it on 10-inch wide wheels. It just it's like in my idea almost the perfect setup. Um, Drove good. Just had throttle body injected 350 in it. Nothing special.
That's a pretty cool way to drill that small hole. He's talking about spinning the brass insert with a Allen key and holding the drill
Yeah,
bit still.
yeah. Sometimes I'm like if I'm drilling out jets or something small like that, or like chainsaw carburetors when I'd modify them,
Yeah.
uh, I would actually hold the jet in the drill,
Okay.
or I think kind of like what he's saying, hold the piece and or spin the piece and hold the drill stationary.
Yeah. And he's talking about Smith Brothers push rods.
Uh,
My 406 in my circle track car had Smith Brothers push rods in it because you can same kind of deal as yours. It was aftermarket everything, and I had the right length push rods, But with Jezel shaft rockers, they're pretty particular about the push
Yeah.
rod, and I had to order a set of Smith brothers to get I don't remember. It's got a ball end, but it's got a relief, so it's actually a full ball, so it doesn't kick the push rods out. Because the first time we
Okay.
started, it spit half the push rods out.
Yeah. I think the push rods I ordered were the cheapest chromoly ones, which were Speedmaster.
Richard says I don't have a 406 anymore. He's currently in possession of that 406.
But yeah, this 339 is still it's. I'm using decent parts, but not the best parts. Trying to stay with the lower budget, and as I was telling Travis before the first live about something that came up with this 339. I had a little bit of a setback. Don't want to get into it right here. I'll get into it in a video. But I had a little bit of a setback because of the cheaper parts. But it'll be all right. Possession is 9/10 of the law.
It is. And worse than that, it's in his vehicle, so I guess.
Yeah. Wow.
That sounds
Gonna have
pretty impressive.
quite a bit of stuff in this Suburban. It's gonna be nice.
Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be really nice.
Hey, Red Eye. We're just hanging out chatting. Let me see if I can put the all right. I was able to do it.
Hey.
There's the link to the stream if anybody wants to jump in live. Yeah, I believe he sent me some pictures of the engine that's going in that thing. Looks pretty sharp.
Sounds like it's going to be a pretty healthy
Mm-hmm.
build. Oh. I'm hurting today. I worked too hard today.
Yeah. Of course, my new position at work, I'm on my feet more. So that first week, like I got to go find some new boots. My feet weren't killing me, but I knew that if I had some nice, more comfortable boots, that it would make my job easier. But
Oh,
work pays. I think they provide $140 a year for boots.
that almost buys a pair of boots.
Yeah, it didn't buy these. It
I
paid for the biggest part of them. What's
I
going on?
What's going on, boys? What y'all doing? Besides nothing.
About it.
I hear that, man. Skiing bad storms over your way, man.
Travis did. He's in kind of northern Alabama.
Northern Alabama. We got a pretty good windstorm last Friday. Knocked the power out for 48 hours.
Yeah, we got a lot of wind, man. I thought we was gonna get blown away here in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something else, man.
Where are you at in Kentucky?
I'm I'm in Berea, Kentucky, which is about 40 miles south of Lexington.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm real close to I-75. I'm like 10 minutes away from I-75, which runs from Ohio straight down through Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, down into Florida.
My niece is going to college in Kentucky, and I'm drawing a complete blank of the college that she's going to. I think it's
There's
somewhere around Lexington.
Western Kentucky. It's probably either UK or what's the name of that?
It's a
There's,
smaller
there's,
school.
yeah, yeah. I think I know exactly where you're talking about. I used to walk past it every day, but I cannot remember the name of it. Like Southern University, or I can't
Um,
remember what it is. It's a pretty good sized campus. I know exactly right which one you're talking about. Yeah, Transylvania.
I'm looking at the map. No, I don't remember. I'm terrible at this names. Something.
I have bad memory loss myself, really.
Yeah, I suffer from CRS. Can't remember shit.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm telling you, man, I do too. It ain't no joke. I'll
You
be
know,
glad to get
and
my
it's
truck out the pawn shop, man.
what was that?
I said I'll be glad to get my square body out of the pawn shop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, I had to pawn it last month, and be getting it back here next week.
Well, good.
Yeah, some rev limiter burnouts are in order.
Yeah.
I like to
Yeah.
sand that thing down, man, and try to get some paint on it this year. I mean, it's running wise, it's good to go with that, with that LS swap and the body, man. It's a 98% rust free Texas truck.
Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got a lot of paint flake on it and stuff, but the body is solid, man. Rocker panels, cab corners, everything. So I'd like to sand it down and get some decent paint on it, even if I had to paint it myself. Those the big turbo cans, and then
Yeah.
sand it. You can get some nice clear coat in a can these days, so we'll see what I can do with it. 'Cause I really can't afford to do a real nice paint job. And that's like what, $7,000-8,000 or better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can. I
That's a lot
can.
of money.
I don't paint
I can make.
anything.
I can make a lot of horsepower and tire smoke with that money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Plus, if it's shiny, you're afraid to scratch it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's why I thought about doing a patina style too, man. Because then
Yep.
it just don't matter. It don't really matter to me. Whatever covers up the metal to prolong the inevitable as long as possible.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. With
Um,
what first responders garage saying, when you buy cheap parts, sometimes they work good, and sometimes you get what you pay for. And this
Yeah.
is a conversation I've had with my machinist, quite a bit. He's all he, this guy, he's building. Shoot, he's got an LS. Last time I was in there, he had an LS block on the Hone that's like over 2,000 horsepower Whipple Charge LS. This, and it's actually going in a truck, a Blazer that I might be racing against in a truck class, which it won't be any competition. But anyhow, this my machinist built some pretty slick stuff,
You just need more
and
nitrous.
yeah, but he's super excited about my 339 build, even though I'm using these cheap parts. It's a lot of Speedmaster stuff, a lot of the bottom end as far as money wise goes, but yeah, sometimes I mean, you get what you pay for. Hopefully it lives up to what they advertise the parts to,
Yeah.
hold, because the rods, the Speedmaster rods, are supposed to be good for 8,500 RPM and 1,000 plus horsepower.
They should hold up if that's what they're advertised to.
But that's
Yeah.
what. I guess I could just go ahead and
Those
spill the
parts
beans to
never
it.
had square body stuff either.
Yeah. Because with that said, that's one of the things that I'm having a setback with is the rod bolts that came with those rods. They're chromoly rod bolts, 7/16, good stuff. But I had one of them that it wouldn't stop stretching because I use the stretch method. I don't torque them, and it was, as my machinist called it, turned the mud on me. So so I was feeling pretty good about the whole setup until that one, and now I don't trust any of the rod bolts. So I had to order, spend another little bit of money for the rod bolts that I should have ordered to begin with. I could have upgraded these rods to come with those rod bolts, the ARPs.
Yeah.
But it's money I could have spent to begin with. But I thought, hey, they're advertising these to be this good, so I'm just going to run with it.
Well,
But,
rod bolts are one of those areas where it's probably not a bad idea to spend some money on.
yeah.
They have a pretty important job in there.
They're probably the most abused and most important component inside of an engine.
Yeah.
See, I've not even begun to do any of that work yet. I just did a stock swap out of a 2004 Avalanche that had 162,000 miles. It runs great, and everything. But I've not. Eventually, I think. I mean, I don't know if I either want to go with like a nitrous express kit or or actually maybe put a turbo on it. But I know if I do, I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to pull the engine and gap the rings and stuff. But or
Yeah.
I may just go with a good strong cam and just leave it at that. Like I've thought about the truck Norris cam. That way I don't have to change my my torque converter. I looked for a 480. I looked for an 80E, man, forever, and around here I couldn't find one that was good. So I had to, I went with a 4L60, but I had it rebuilt with some updated parts and stuff.
Yeah, they'll handle quite a bit if it was done right. There's some kids at work that they've all been doing cam swaps in their LS trucks. They got newer trucks and everything.
Yeah.
One of them's got the truck Norris. One of them got the Chopacabra Texas Speed. Is it Texas Speed or Brian Tooley? But yeah, they're real proud of their choppy camshafts.
Yeah.
And then
Snoopy Mechanics too has one, but I think they recommend that you change the torque converter with it. But I'm like $4,000 into my swap altogether with motor and transmission and exhaust, and I went with a BP Automotive harness, and it was like almost $600 for all that. So I've yet to get there yet, man. I just wanted to get it. I mean, which it was already dependable with that little 350 small block and a 5-speed. I just got tired of shifting gears, really, but I almost miss it, man. I'd like to put a 6-speed in it, or maybe an MV 4500. But I've still got that hole in the floor. I just patched it up for time being, but I'd like to. Whenever I paint it, I'm going to pull it, get new carpet and everything, and then I'll either by that time decide whether I want to go back to stick shift or whether I'll just patch the hole up and keep it automatic. So I'd like to do a lot of, going to a few of the shows and stuff, and hopefully I'll be able to make it to this year's No Name Nationals. Yeah. I didn't have the luck. I didn't have the luck to get there this time. I just had too much going on. And maybe I can make it this time.
Yeah, those kids at work, they got their choppy LS motors, and course, my old cream puff, my old '79 daily driver sounds just as rowdy as theirs does.
Oh yeah. Looking back, man, dude, looking back, I really kicked myself in the ass uh, for doing that because I could have spent 4,000 and had one of the baddest small blocks, or I could have bought a 400 and built it
Yeah.
and the transmission and just kept the harness that I had there and didn't need to do none of that. But man, hindsight's 2020, I guess.
Yep, it always is.
It's hard to beat that small block sound, man. I mean, LSs are nice and stuff, but I just like the sound of a small block, man. A built
Mm-hmm.
small block or big block. It's just hard to beat that old school, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the bad thing right now in my situation. My big block and my race truck is it don't really have much of any chop to it at all. It's pretty mild, and my daily driver has more of a chop to it than my race truck. So it's not as impressive to pull up to work with it, but it is quite a bit louder. But
I like that
and they
big
all
14 boat you got in the rear of that one.
yeah, and
That's cool.
they give me weird looks when I'm trying to pull into a parking spot in that 14 bolt, which is welded solid. You're
Chirping the whole way, yeah.
and the big 37s are chirping, and
One thing I learned by watching all you guys' videos that went there, bring extra drive shafts. I'm gonna
yes,
take that off. Make sure I've got at least one extra with the right yoke and
Yeah.
everything.
yeah,
I'm hoping to just get a good enough drive shaft that I don't need an extra this
yeah.
year.
That's what I'm hoping
Yeah,
for.
there
So
you go.
my experience from last year is test the truck before you get to No Name Nationals.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. You don't want to be that the first time that you're shaking it down when you go up there and make a hit. The whole axle comes out and wheel and
Yeah.
your body hits the ground or something. Or lug nuts break. You got to think about that too. I need to upgrade some lug nuts and get
Yeah.
some bigger ones.
Yeah, we've discussed that before. If we went to No Name Nationals and everything went good, I don't think it would have been as memorable for us
I don't think so.
if what happened didn't happen.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah,
It kind of set the pace and brought us together and has a better story for the first one.
Yeah.
So now the next one, maybe we can
Not work
show
on
up
trucks.
and not work on our junk and just have fun with it.
Yeah. That's my plan for this year.
Yeah.
man, I've been putting excuse me, I've been putting a lot into my music, man, and learning how to flint nap. I've been making arrowheads and things and all kinds of stuff. I want to go film a lot of small tire drag racing.
Mm-hmm.
Do some content on that. Like I went to Kentucky Dragway and met the guys from Street Racing Channel, the Old Man's Garage, and all them.
Yeah.
And just some good people. It was the second time I'd met them because they come to Thornhill back in the spring, and then they was at Kentucky Dragway there. Lampy was on the lot. I got to meet him, shake hands with him, take pictures and stuff. A lot of good people, man. I'd like to get into going to some of the races that are close by here, or at least on the East Coast and stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll try to get into some of that. I've been learning how to edit and things. I'm getting there slowly. I'm not tech savvy whatsoever. I'm country dumb when it comes to that.
I'm not very good at it either. I still do all my editing on my phone, and I mean, we're on my phone right now. Actually, it's a brand new phone I just got last week because my other one, I dropped it at work. And all the times I've dropped that phone the last couple of years I've had it, it finally landed just right, and got a crack in the screen on the upper left-hand corner. And one of the crack went right underneath. Well, my camera lens here went right underneath the camera lens where it didn't really affect it. I think the last time I was live, maybe the last two times I was live, it had a crack in it. You can't really see it all the time, but if the light is just right,
Oh,
you can see just like a little bit on the bottom of the screen. But also the USB port was starting to get a little weird. Sometimes it wouldn't connect right, and thought, well, I better use the insurance and
Well, you got
spend
Android and iPhone.
Android. It's a Samsung S21
S21.
Ultra. Yeah, Ultra 5G. Blah blah blah. I don't know. It was about the best because doing what we do. I wanted a good phone
Yeah.
to do all my editing, and actually at that time that was before I bought my new GoPro. So actually I was doing almost 98% of my videos capturing video with my phone. So I wanted a good phone to do it with, and but anyhow, I got a new phone now. I was gonna try to upgrade, but it's like there's no sense in spending the extra money on upgrading because the only thing the new ones had that mine doesn't have. Well, mine has the option, but I didn't get that option. Was more internal storage.
yeah.
I regret not upgrading it because it's only got like 128 gigabyte internal storage, and there's no on these Samsungs you can't put a SD card in them.
Yeah.
That's like a permanent SD card. So
See you first responder garage. He's taking off. He said.
Yep. Take care, buddy.
I think it was last summer or this. I don't remember. At some point, we were in Colorado, and my old phone was a I think it was an S20. I don't remember. Anyway, we were using it for most of our recording, and we hadn't got any GoPros yet. And of course, I dropped my phone a lot, and that phone had been dropped. Same kind of deal. I couldn't tell you how many times I dropped that phone, and then one time dropped it just right. A rock hit it and shattered the screen. Well, that was a good opportunity. I upgraded to because it was 3 years old, so I don't even have the insurance on it anymore. I upgraded to the S22 Ultra, and I love this phone.
Yeah.
And we got the GoPro right after that, so we don't even use it for recording anymore. So now I have a really expensive phone with a really nice camera and a whole bunch of storage, and I use it to play games. And
mine is junk, bro. I mean, mine is terrible. It's a Galaxy A11, and like it kills the sound out, man, and it aggravates me even when I'm trying to record myself playing guitar. It kills the audio down halfway, and I've looked for every setting. I went through the whole phone trying to change that, and it won't do it. And I'm like, man, I got to get something better. So I may try to get me one of them S21s.
I mean, now that they got the S23s is what they have now.
S23s are out now?
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. They don't have the 21s or 22s or, I mean, they're old school now. It's like, man, mine's not that old, and Travis got a 22. They're what replaced mine, and then now they got the 23s. It's like every year they come out with newer, better ones. It's like, I know when I first got mine, the camera on it to take pictures is ridiculous.
Yes.
I took pictures. I don't know if did I ever show you the pictures of the moon I took on my phone, Travis?
No.
I took the pictures of the moon. Man, it didn't matter if it's full.
Facebook, didn't you? Didn't you post it on Facebook?
Yeah, I think I posted them on Facebook. Man. I mean, they're like,
that's crazy.
You can see every crater, everything on it. I mean, it was.
Yeah, it was wild. Like looking through a telescope almost, man.
Yeah.
It was cool. I was like, wow, man, you got a good
Yeah.
phone. Mine, you would just seen a big potato in the sky. I think my phone identifies as a potato.
Yeah.
My phone identifies as Joe Biden. Uh,
The old potato phone.
I'm telling you, man. But yeah, I seen you was live, man, and I figured you dropped the link. I figured I'd come up and see what you was doing. I'm about to go in here and toss a little. It got a little chilly out here tonight, so I built a small fire. I'm about to go in here and
Yeah.
toss a log on it and probably fix me a bite to eat, man.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you stopping in.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I hear a ham sandwich calling my name.
There you go. Get your ham sandwich.
Yes, sir. Travis, take her easy, man. Square
You too.
body
Have
to
a good
get
night,
it.
man.
You bet. Take care,
All right.
bud.
Yep.
So Richard said, "Wait till tomorrow will be S." I don't know what. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what Richard's talking about either. Tasha's got a A53 5G.
I want to go out and take a picture of the moon now.
Yeah, it works better if you have something to steady your hand on because it is super. I mean, if you move it just a little bit, it goes away. I mean, it's you got to keep it perfectly still because you don't have any room to like. So what I did is I zoomed out so I could kind of get get it in the frame, and then I slowly zoomed in until it was there.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I took quite a bit of pictures with this phone when I first got it, just playing around like out in the garden. Uh, from like 10 feet away, I took pictures of like uh, butterflies or bees or something, ladybugs
Huh.
from 10 feet away, and it's like on a flower, and it was like I was this close.
Wow.
But and it was super detailed. They were really nice pictures, and got some pictures of frogs in the pond from like 20 feet away, and it looked like I was right next to them.
Huh.
We missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it should be a full moon tonight.
I might have to look and see if it's out, and I'll try to take a picture on my way in.
There you go.
I know this phone, which the numbers is just crazy. I think it has a 108 megapixel camera.
Yeah, I don't know what mine is.
I that's like I'm trying to remember, but I thought like a at one point wasn't like a 5 megapixel camera like
Yeah,
top of the line.
yeah, yeah,
I'm not.
yeah.
I don't stay up on all that megapixels, and I know it shoots 4K footage that crashes our computer.
Yeah. Well, that's something now. Even my GoPro, I do everything like 1080p. I don't try to go 4K because it's just too much. It's just too much. And
Well, Amber wanted to start shooting in 4K so that if she wanted to zoom in, it was clearer when she zoomed in. Well, so that was a rabbit hole. So we started shooting in 4K, and she was editing, and when she put it in the editing software, it would take the software like 5 minutes to load. So I have a little thing on my computer that kind of keeps track of everything that's being used. The every time she would click a button on the screen, it would max out the memory in the computer, and it had 16 gig of memory. So in
yeah,
order to try to edit 4K footage, now I have 64 gig of memory RAM, in the
RAM.
computer, and she can edit 4K, but we've pretty much stopped shooting in it because it's just I don't think it's worth it. It's way more space on the computer. It takes forever to edit, and then it was taking like an hour to render a video.
Yeah.
So we've been shooting in 1080p.
Yeah. I think Hava is saying phones in quotation, like, and they could do all this stuff and they're still just a phone.
Oh yeah.
And I rather use mine as a phone because I don't like talking on the phone. Well, Travis can attest to the fact that if I get on the phone, it's hard to get me off the phone. But on the rare occasion I do talk on the phone, uh, you know, I could be on there for a long time. But and that's kind of part of the reason why I don't like talking on the phone, because it just I'll be on there for an hour and not get anything done. And
So I'm kind of the same way, but at the same time, if you're gonna have a conversation, I hate the texting back and forth, because if you have something short to say and it fits in a
yeah,
text, that's great. But if you're trying to have a conversation, texting is just a pain. I
it
type
it
really
can be.
slow, and everybody gets frustrated because they're like 4 lines down in the conversation. And I'm replying to the first line because it took me that long to reply to the first one. And then when I text, like I can never get the right words, and I end up with and then I'm trying to fix and then like all the tenses are wrong and it's not pluralized, and it just I'd
Yeah,
rather just talk on the phone. If I have something, if it's something that needs to be said, it's easier just to talk, just to dial the phone. But so and my neighbor is a younger guy, and he like we talk, but he won't answer the phone. He'll answer a text instantly, but if I try to call him like when we're talking about something, he'll never answer the phone, and that's just a I think a generational thing. But so I have to, like when I'm talking, I got to remember that he doesn't like to talk on the phone, so I have to text to him. But
yeah.
I hate texting. I always have.
I used to, but now that's my preferred way to communicate. But like you said, if it's a more of an in-depth conversation, you know, yeah, let's talk about it because it's easier to explain. But uh, let's see, I hate the tape deck answering machine.
Wow.
Uh, Wild Bill 72. What's the old Chevy behind you? Well, this, my good friend, is my 78 C10 short bed step side. I'll just take you for a little quick tour. I'll assume you're new to the channel, not familiar with Squeaky. Got well, I guess I could pop the hood here in a minute. Let's see if I can get around here. Get my fat head out of the way. There we go. Of course, he ain't got no legs right now because they're stacked up right there. Right now we're running 37-inch military tires on the rear of this half-ton two-wheel drive. 15s on the front. They're all 4 of those wheels are the matching Hurricanes. So I got them for 8 lug for the rear, 5 lug for the front. But I'm getting ready to put the racing slicks and skinnies on him to take him to the track. Yeah, check out my channel. Pretty much everything I've ever done to this truck is on the channel. It started out with a 305, grainy low 4-speed. Still got the grainy low 4-speed. Got a 454 in it right now. This is the 305, which is now a 339. I've got a stroker crank in it. A lot of stuff going on with that engine. And I can pull the pins. I mean, I hate showing off my stuff. Hold on. Ugh. there's the big block. It's pretty mild. Nothing much to it. Just the cam, little cam intake headers, and I think I got 150 shot of nitrous, which I never got to run the nitrous through this big block yet. Hopefully this weekend, I've got a full bottle of nitrous, so hopefully this weekend when I take it to the track, I'll actually be able to crack open the bottle and hit the switch. The hood scoop, I love it. The hood scoop is courtesy of Ryan from Streetcar Chronicles. They used to be on his Malibu that he's got on his channel, Mike Honcho. He went with a dual sniper tunnel ram setup on his big block, so he didn't need the scoop anymore. So he donated it to Squeaky. And Jason's garage has showed up. I'll put my phone back up so it's not shaky. Well, hello, Regina. How are you and Gabe doing? You're welcome. Hopefully you'll subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and check out what I've got going on with this truck, which I've got my other C10 short bed fleet side. It's a 79, my daily driver, cream puff, just a 350 turbo 400 transmission. It's my nothing real special. And I've got a crew cab 84 1 ton that I play with, and so I got a few trucks on this channel. I'm not sure if I haven't said anything to Shelman about going to the track this weekend yet, because I mean, it's still not 100% sure that I'm even going to make it, because I still got stuff to do to the truck, and just the way my the way I get stuff done, it may not happen this week, but I'm hoping I get to go. Yeah, Regina is friends of ours. Well, her husband, I worked with him years and years ago, and I hadn't talked to him for probably over 10 years. And I think we met back up at the racetrack that first year I started going to the racetrack, and kind of rekindled our friendship. And he's actually he's the one that's donated and helped out with the nitrous, the original nitrous kit. So that's courtesy of them for right now. I need to replace it one of these days for him. But he got the kit. He's like, man, he said, I'm not sure if I'm going to use it yet. So he said, just use it on the 305 and see what we could do with it. All right, man. Take care. Hope to see you next time. Bye. Yeah. We're going to Rogersville, Regina. They're supposed to be opening up this Saturday for their spring opening. I guess I can't remember what the name of the guy. They're supposed to have a guy there, kind of a big name guy, for a special deal this weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah. Here I was talking about subscribe to my channel. You guys don't forget to go subscribe to this guy over here. They've got some. I just mess with old square body trucks, and here lately it's just a little 339 stroker motor. That's all I've been doing. But Travis and Amber have got a lot of cool projects going on in their shop.
And one that's not. and is currently taking up the majority of the time. I mean, it is cool for somebody, but it's just not what it's not my
Yeah,
cup of tea. But
yeah.
it's getting done. It'll be done soon.
Yeah, I think the guy's name is Cookie. I think that's what it is. I've seen it on Facebook. I'm not real sure. Let's see, our the Ozark Raceway Park where I'm going to in Rogersville, Missouri. I think they're under new ownership, and they're looks like they're trying to do some pretty cool stuff with the track. Uh, Trying to get some more classes, get some more variety in there. I know they're trying to get a truck class together. Um, which I kind of mentioned earlier about when I was at the machine shop. There's a 2,000 horse LS motor getting built for a Blazer that's going to be in that class, and it was funny because I was just talking to Alan, the guy that runs the shop, and that's when I dropped off my nitrous bottle stuff, just visiting with him, and we were standing there. We was watching the hone work, putting a nice finish on this LS block. He's like, "Yeah, this LS is Whipple charge, gonna be 2,000 horsepower, something like that." I'm like, "Oh, cool." He's like, and we're just kind of sitting there chilling out. He's like, "Yeah, they're gonna have a truck class at Rogersville this year." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I'm gonna get my truck in it because I thought he mentioned it to bring it to my attention to maybe put my truck in it."
Yeah.
Well, that's when he told me what that LS was for. He's like, "Oh, uh," he said, the look on his face, like, yeah, you don't have a chance, buddy."
You just need more nitrous.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh," he said, "Well, that's what this motor's going in a Blazer that's going to be in that class." I said, "Look," I said, "there's got to be a last place, and it might as well be me because I'll be happy about it.
Yeah.
I'm not. I've got a whole different set of goals for being in a class than winning.
Yeah.
I want to be there. I want to be in a class. I want to just be a part of it, and yeah, just enjoy that. It gets just be a part of that. I've never been into drag racing, especially competition. Um, I was in truck pulling and stuff, and that's a whole different kind of world and than the drag racing. But I think it's gonna be a lot of fun trying to get him into class. I'm hoping to talk to him this weekend if I go there, if I can make it, to see where my truck is going to fit in, because I might have to start out the class because they're going to have a big block power adder and a small block power adder class. Well, if I start out with the big block, then I have to start out in the big block class. Then if I go to small block, I don't care if I stay in the big block class, just stay where I'm at.
Yeah.
Or I guess I could drop down to the small block class. I don't know. I really don't care. I guess if I thought I might be super competitive in the small block class, that might help. But that might push me, because I think the first race is in May or later in April. So I've actually got a little bit of time, and I might have the 339 done by then, and start out the truck class with the small block. So I don't know.
And like you said, just the being there and doing it for fun, and a lot of times when you start getting competitive, it takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that. I just want to go and have fun, just be a part of it. Uh, you know, I've talked about this with Ryan from Streetcar Chronicles about, there's a lot of stuff I want to do with this truck, as far as like trying to reach out to, maybe not reach out to companies for like sponsorship, but to get this truck known, to
Yeah.
grow my channel. Because this truck, even though what it is, or what it was, a 305 4-speed truck. This truck is like probably it's the most popular truck on my channel,
Yeah.
and it has got me a lot of views, a lot of subscriptions. So with that, I want this truck to be the one that I think it'll be the one that really takes me somewhere or gets me really going on the YouTube thing. But until I actually get it to the track and doing what I want to do with it, which is my claim to fame is wanting to be the fastest 4-speed, granny low 4-speed in the world.
Yeah.
That's about all I've got really as far. I've got a lot of other unique stuff on this truck. It's going to have a 339 stroker. It's going to have granny low 4-speed. It's got a 14-bolt, 3/4 ton rear end in it. So it's got a lot of different stuff when it comes to the drag racing world. But also, I just wanted to make a name for itself. But until I get it to the track, it's not going to be any good for me to like promote it too much until I'm really showing what it's going to do.
Yeah.
And being in an actual truck class or an actual class, I think that would be the best way to get that done.
Tell him it's a big small block.
it don't quite work that way, which even though my big block probably won't keep up with some of the small blocks that'll be there, I'm kind of actually hoping that this big block won't keep up with the small block I got on the stand. But
I think that with your current gears and everything, I think the small block might be better than the big block.
yeah, and that's the other thing, about the gears. It's geared for 1/8 mile small block. Turning 7,000 RPM at the big end, hopefully. I don't know, I really probably should think about putting some 410s in it with this big block and taking advantage of the big block torque. But I didn't. Me and you have talked about this before. About I was wanting to set up another rear end another center section for it because these 14 bolts are almost as easy as a 9-bolt or 9-inch Ford to switch out.
Yeah,
because I could have the
14 bolt is easier because the axles come out.
Yeah.
It's full
Other than physically having to get underneath the truck, I don't even have to get it off the. I won't have to get it off the wheels to pull the axle shafts. I could pull the axle shafts and not jack the truck up, and so yeah, it can be. It's somewhat a little bit easier than a 9-inch. But I want to set up. I like to set up another rear end anyways for like drag and drives or different events. But have the 488s when I'm going to hit the 1/8 mile. Now, if I'm going to go to a 1/4 mile track, then I'll have 410. So I do need to go ahead and set up another center section with 410s probably.
The class you're racing is 1/8 mile, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think the big block won't make a pass on a 1/4 mile with the 488s, will it?
I doubt it. It probably tapped out at because I don't think I'm gonna spin it much past. It don't make power up to 6,000 RPM, but it pulls to 6,000 RPM easily, but it don't have anything after that, and it's not really. I don't really want to spin it much past that, anyways. It's not. It's just all stock internals.
Yeah.
All right, Wild Bill's got an 85 square body. All right, buddy. I hope you see you around on the channel. Go check out Travis's channel too. He's got square body Dodge, a couple of them.
Yeah, same era, and they're kind of square.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I just hope
that's kind of the hard part too. Like when you're not big into drag racing and all that, and you don't know what to expect as far as how fast it's going to go or what kind of time it's going to run, it's really hard to pick a gear ratio. I mean, it until you've got a lot of experience doing it. Like I'm trying to figure out what gears to build for mine, and I'm just having to guess really because I don't know. Obviously, if you dynoed the motor and you knew exactly what it weighed, then you could kind of figure out where you're going to be. But I'm just guessing, and I'm thinking that 410s is what I'm going to end up, or 411s, whatever it works out to
Yeah.
be, is what I'm going to end up building again. But um, it seemed to be pretty good before, but I expected it to go a little bit faster. But I really wasn't maxed out with RPM wise what I had, so I think that's what I'm going to go with is 410 411 again.
Yeah. Well, it also depends. You could have the 410s. The more horsepower you start making, the more RPM you're going to have on the big end because you're going to be getting there faster. So,
And I think I still had enough room to go. I don't think it'll go fast enough to outrun the 410 gears, but it might.
you got to keep drive shafts in them first.
But yeah, right now I can't make it 10 feet. So
Yeah, that's the whole drive shaft thing still got me nervous. I've got the drive shaft that was in it when I was drag racing it before, and I was turning that 305 7,000 RPM when I was shifting,
yeah,
and not because of a stock. Well, it wasn't basically stock. It just had a cam in it, an intake, a cheap intake, not even a good intake really, just a performer intake. Uh, Barely a step up from the cast iron small block intake, and headers and the nitrous. But not that it made power at 7,000 RPM. It would spin at 7,000 RPM with no issues, but I had to spin it that high, carry it that high. So whenever I shifted from second to third, the RPM drop, the gear split between those two gears is so big that I'd go from 7,000 RPM to 3,500 RPM.
oh wow,
And the cam that was in that 305, and the 305 didn't make any torque. I mean, that's like right where it would start making some power. So I had to spin it that fast. So when it dropped down, it would regain, momentum. It's like, uh. So that's why I really want to get this 339 on a dyno before I put it in the truck, so I know what it makes, where it makes it.
yeah. What gears did it have in it with the 305?
342s.
Well, the 488s are going to help that out a lot.
Oh yeah, that'll help out a bunch. And the other thing, I've talked to you about, and I may have talked to other people about my whole idea with keeping the 4-speed, the 488 gears, is the gear ratios from third to fourth. Third and fourth gear, obviously fourth gear is straight through, but third gear is the same, real close to the same ratio as first gear in a power glide automatic.
Oh,
So I started researching that. It's like, okay, 488 gears. I forget what 7,000 RPM. I just use that as like my top end. Would get me at, I can't remember what the mile an hour is. It's like if I could do that mile an hour in an eighth mile, I think I'm doing something.
yeah.
So, and I had that rear end sitting here with fresh 488 gears in it. So just throw it in there and hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be only time will tell. You won't know. Like I said, you'll have a little bit more information because you're going to dyno the 339, so you'll have an idea where it makes power, what kind of power it makes, and then you can weigh the truck and get a somewhat of an idea of where you're going to be as far as trap speed goes.
Yeah, and the other thing that factors into that is shifting. Yeah, I mean, guys that have been in this a lot longer than we have, or I have for sure, could probably look at my combination and get an idea
Yeah,
of what it could possibly do. you know, I don't know. I'm going to be happy if it gets into the mid sevens in the 8th. I
That's
think
kind of what I'm shooting for.
that's
I
pretty
and
respectable.
I think so. I mean, especially for a truck, not a 2,000 horsepower LS truck, but
Yeah,
a fairly budget minded built
yeah.
big block or small block is.
With
I
a
think a mid
with,
seven, and I
with a granny low 4-speed.
oh that's a big kicker too. I'm so my current goal is naturally aspirated. I'd like to get into the somewhere in the mid to high sevens, maybe in the 8th, and then if I can keep it together and keep a drive shaft in it long enough to actually spray it. And I don't know, I've never sprayed anything with nitrous before, so I have no idea what to expect. But I don't think it's unreasonable to think that I can get somewhere around a half a second in the 8th from spraying it. So maybe high sixes, low sevens.
Yeah. I'd have to go look at my time slips to see the 8th mile. But I know with the quarter mile, uh, on the same night, I would be in the high 14s, low 15s, naturally aspirated.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'd run a 250 shot of nitrous, it would get me into the mid 13s.
So about a
Which,
second and a half.
yeah, at least a second. What that translates to, I don't know. But
Yeah, I don't either.
I do remember that much of it. So, in mid 13s is, late 60s muscle car area stuff. It would keep up with a lot of the factory muscle cars back then
Yep,
for a 305 powered truck with a granny low 4-speed.
that's pretty good. I think that's real good, actually.
That's the thing that's, regardless of how slow I am or maybe not competitive, that granny low 4-speed thing, when I mention that,
Well, that's the
it
real
almost
equalizer on
throws
that whole
it,
thing.
it almost throws out, you know like, oh, you only went so fast. Yeah, I'm got a granny low 4-speed. Oh, well, yeah, man, you're doing pretty good.
Although I will say that if you're only shifting from third to fourth, that's eliminating a little bit of that handicap of the granny low 4-speed. Just saying.
But it's still a granny low 4-speed.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
well, Ted.
and it may or may not work. Now, the only time I've even attempted that was at one time at Sykeston, and I yeah, what bothers me the most about that one partial run that I got is not that I threw the drive shaft, but I messed up the launch. I got all flustered, and you jumped out on me. I got flustered, and it's not really. It's just that's just how it happened. I'm not making excuses. I watched you jump out on me, and I got flustered. Didn't get everything right, and I mean, truck launched good right off the bat. I've got those videos where it shows the front end almost
Yeah.
almost getting some daylight underneath the tire. But what I left out of that video that I've showed is as soon as the front tire almost comes up, it goes because it just bogs. Because
Yeah.
I let out the clutch too much, didn't have enough RPM, wasn't sure what to expect because there's a whole different truck other than the transmission.
Yeah.
And
That was the first pass ever with the big block, right?
yeah, big block, 488 gears. It hooked and launched. That was the hardest launch that I've ever had.
Yeah.
So it kind of it kind of took me, well, like I said, I was flustered all the way around, and then it took a nosedive, and so I just kind of like, well, you're already gone, so not worry about that. So I just stopped, regrouped, got back up on the two-step, and by then, at that point, I was out of my tires weren't, they were in the slick stuff, so whenever I took off again, I couldn't tell if it was my clutch slipping or my tires were spinning, but looking back, it was my tires spinning because I was skating a little bit.
Yeah.
And it finally took off. And of course, I wasn't running nitrous. We were doing a NA run. And then it started doing something.
Yeah.
And then I hit fourth gear. And that done great. It was pulling me back in the seat pretty hard in fourth gear. And then the drive shaft let loose. Right about the same RPM my drive shaft guy said that it would. He said, this drive shaft will not spin on paper past like 4,000 RPM. That's it. Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And I think that's about where it let loose.
Sometimes the paper doesn't lie.
Yeah. But yeah, it was.
Well, and I told you that when you were building that drive shaft and you were talking about it and I saw the measurements, I was thinking, I didn't comment or anything, but I think I told you later on when we were talking on the phone that seems like it's a little bit too long for a single one-piece drive shaft to me. Just doing the measurement, from what I remember, I think that's too much.
Yeah, it was. But you never know until you try.
Yeah. No.
It's like when me and the drive shaft guy was talking about it. I said, I've seen guys run sewer pipe. He's like, oh man, he said, you can't believe the stuff I've seen being a drive shaft guy.
Yeah.
That people have run, and it works for years.
Well, I happen to know a guy personally who ran a piece of drill pipe for a drive shaft for a burnout competition.
Well, yeah. Case in point. And it worked. It held together.
It probably would have made it pass down the drag strip.
It might have. But I wasn't going to try it.
Well, if that breaks and comes out of there, that's going to do some real damage to some stuff under the truck.
Yeah. I would say that thing would have been harder on my output shaft bearings and my pinion bearings more than anything.
Yeah.
Well,
look at what my little drive shaft did to the tail shaft of the transmission when it came out. And it was thin wall pipe.
Yeah.
Whatever the thin drive shaft material is. It's not super thin, but it's not as thick as that sewer pipe you were running.
No. No. That's man, I still can't believe how heavy that thing is. My father-in-law was over here the other day, and Mr. Squarebody was saying, yeah, did you ever see the drive shaft he made for this thing on the trailer of the trailer at the No Name Nationals? He's like, no, I never seen that. And I grabbed it and I said, here, pick this thing up. He's like, oh, man. But yeah. Steve's asking what RPM I'll probably launch at 339 with nitrous. Second gear. Well, the plan is to launch in third gear. We were just discussing that just a little bit ago, that my plan is with the 488 gears to be able to take off in third and just shift to fourth. And I think it'll work, because the one time I tried it at No Name Nationals, it kind of worked. If I'd have been paying more attention, it would have worked.
Yeah.
Now, as far as launching RPM with the 339, I'm not real sure. Probably 3,500 to 4,000 RPM. And my nitrous will be on a controller, so it'll come in gradually and kind of save on the clutch and drive line. It'll be something I'll have to play with to get everything dialed in right to get the right launch. And also because I don't have a fancy slipper clutch with weights on it that I could change out to where it slips automatically.
Yeah.
I'll just have to get in the routine of how to
I'll
ease
bet
out on the clutch.
if you put a slipper clutch in that, you would definitely be the first person with a granny low 4-speed and a slipper clutch.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of those things, you know, if I do get somewhat competitive with it and making some headway with this thing, that'd be one of those things I could go to. I forget what company, one of the companies that makes some of the slipper clutches. I'm thinking of what Cletus McFarland runs in is Vet Cart Leroy.
Yeah.
It's a slipper clutch, you know, and they just changed the weights on it. That way he can just basically dump the clutch.
Yeah.
You know, he don't have to feather the clutch out to get a nice smooth launch. He just lets out on the clutch, and the weights on the clutch itself, the fingers, you know, control. It's almost like a stall converter.
Yeah, it's somewhat like a torque converter. Lets it slip
Yeah.
at the beginning and locks it
Yep.
up partway down the track.
Yeah, and at so many RPM, it, you know, as it speeds up, it puts more pressure on it, but it's with little weight, and it's basically just washers or bolts that they change, or nuts
Yeah.
that they change out on the flex plate or the clutch, the pressure plate.
Yeah.
To control the amount of slippage and stuff, and it works. But I can't remember what company they use. I want to say like Black Widow or Black Magic or something like that.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, that's something like I was talking about earlier. You know, I need to get this truck to the track and it doing something more than me just talking about it, to be able to go to these companies and say, hey, you know, I'm doing this with this truck with this granular 4-speed. Can you help me make it better?
Yeah.
You know, it's like the truck pulling world. They use a lot of these transmissions. There's some upgrades for these transmissions to make them stronger from the truck pulling world. So,
wait, do they use slipper clutches?
A lot of them just use like basically about the same clutch I'm using, kind of a hard brass button clutch.
Okay.
That they handle. They're meant to take the slippage and not damage themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what I used to run in my crew cab for years and years and years. Of course, I truck pulled with it too. That's why I put that clutch in it. But
I think that's what we run in our race car. It's like a 6-puck clutch.
Yeah. And
when we were running the small clutch, eventually we went down to a little 5.5-inch multi-disc.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's eventually what I'll have to go to, some sort of a. Of course, that's what Cletus McFarland has. It's a multi-disc. I think it's at least a twin disc, but it's a slipper clutch.
Ours did
going back to.
It was in or out.
Yeah. What I ran on my crew cab, which I still got a 6-puck button clutch in it, but it's a ceramic. It's a lot more drivable. It's not in or out.
Yeah. Is it got the solid hub?
No. I went with the spring hub on it because it's street driven.
Yeah.
You know, a solid hub is really harsh. But the button clutch I had in it was a hard brass button clutch, which they're meant. You know, I had the 6 little pucks.
Yeah.
It was a spring hub also. But they're meant to slip them on and truck pull them. When you take off, a lot of the guys they'll slip the clutch, or the clutch will slip a little bit because you're trying to pull a 40,000-pound sled.
Yeah.
And you're starting out at 5. Yeah, you're starting out at 5,000 RPM. I mean, my clutch, if I dump the clutch at 5,000 RPM, it's stuck. So, but if you slipped it, it would build heat, and that hard brass, those pucks would get sticky. I mean, the harder they got, the stickier they got. And I've had it one time, it almost didn't disengage.
Oh wow!
When I pushed the clutch in, it almost didn't disengage because it not necessarily welded itself to the flywheel and pressure plate, but it just got so sticky that it's like you could, yeah. But they're designed to be slipped, and not hurt them. And that's similar to the clutch I got in this. It's a McLeod. I forget what RP or horsepower or torque it's rated at. But it's kind of in the range where I was looking at being. It's a hard brass. I think it's a brass button clutch. So hopefully it'll hold up. So far it's holding up good. And it'll slip, daily driving, easing in and out of it, but it is more or less in or out.
I don't remember what we were running. There's our local clutch shop is called Polo Brake and Clutch. We'd go down there and he'd build the clutches for us, and I don't know what exactly they were. They were some type of, I want to say, is sintered bronze maybe. I don't know what they were, to be honest. He built them. We put them in. They worked, but they were the 6 puck clutch was like a 10 or 10.5 inch clutch. Those would slip a little bit, but once we went to, I was running a, what I think it was a Willwood 5 inch V drive. I think it was a 3 clutch setup, and that thing, it did not slip. But you let the clutch out, it was locked. You push the clutch in, and it was stopping. There was no slip in that clutch at all, and it was really bad for him to try to, like, we didn't. Once you put that in, you had to winch it into the trailer. You couldn't load it in the trailer with the clutch anymore. It made life a lot harder, but it was super light. So, and that was the idea, was to get rid of that rotating mass trying to go circle track racing.
Yeah. That ceramic clutch that's in my crew cab, it's, of course, when you say in and out on your circle track car, that's a little bit different than the trucks, I guess, in a way. But
yeah,
sometimes if you try to slip them, I mean, it's just so it starts.
Yeah,
it's like a big truck, you don't sit there and slip those, because they'll sit there and just chatter, and
and that's the way these were. If you tried to slip it, it would shake your teeth out.
yeah. That ceramic clutch that's in my crew cab, it's not as harsh as the button clutch was, the brass clutch, but it is still, if I try to ease out of it in like second gear, and it'll start shaking. That's a lot of wheelbase and stuff starts moving. So it's like, pretty much commit. Once I start getting the truck going, I just commit and let off the clutch, almost dump it. Just to get going. But Squeaky, this McLeod clutch, with the 488 gears, 37-inch tall tires on the back, I could take off in third gear and just slip that clutch a little bit, and I could take off in third gear going up about any hill, and it'll handle, the clutch will handle it. It shakes a little bit, but you got to have the RPMs up so it won't. Or you could put it in third gear and rev it up a little bit and just dump the clutch and match it, and it'll just sit there and spin. Steve Heighton's got a 98 Vortex 305 in Cheyenne. Yeah, it is a little bit different setup. Computer controlled, all that stuff is a little bit harder to, not necessarily harder, but a little bit different than making power with the carbureted vehicle. But I appreciate you making that comment, because that's the biggest reason why I even started messing with this 305. Because in the beginning, I was never a fan of a 305, other than if it's what you got, it's what you got. They're okay, but they're not something you really necessarily want to start out with to make power. But I just wanted to show people that if that's what you got, you can have fun with a 305. And a good running 305, most people can't tell a difference between a good running 305 and a good running 350. If they had the same parts in them, most people wouldn't. I probably myself wouldn't be able to tell the difference. If you built a 305 and a 350 exactly the same, put them in the same truck, it'd be hard to really tell which is which. Is the 305 when I got this truck, it ran good enough with being all stock that I had to double check the casting numbers, make sure I didn't, mess up. Because the guy told me it's a 350, which we've all heard those stories.
Well, that's every small block Chevy I've ever heard anybody swapping in is a vet motor.
Yeah, either a vet motor or a stroker or at least a 350.
Yeah.
So when I got it home, a friend of mine, he was over here and he said, "Well, that's a 305," and he works for Jasper Remanufacturing. His job for many years was knowing the casting numbers. He would check the casting numbers on every block that came in to know what they could remanufacture it for. So he knew casting numbers and casting identification without even the number. He could look at any small block Chevy or big block Chevy and pretty much tell you within 5 seconds what it is.
Huh.
At least what casting it is and what it was used in. So we was looking at the truck. He's like, he said, "Yeah, that's a 305, bud." I'm like, "That's okay. No big deal." When I got to driving it, once I got running good, man, this thing runs way too good to be a 305. Maybe he got mixed up. So I had to crawl back there and looking on the bell housing and got the casting numbers. Sure enough, it's a 305. It says 5.0 liter. Like, well, it's a 305, but by the way it ran, it was hard to tell it between it and a good running stock 350. Because the first thing I really done to this truck was put that mini spool in the back.
Yeah.
The engine was still stock. Just had an Edelbrock carburetor on it. Is all it was. Still had the factory manifolds, exhaust manifolds, and factory intake. And put that mini spool in there, and you could dump the clutch in second gear and just do donuts for days. And just being a bone stock 305,
that's pretty good. All right, Chad. I think I'm gonna go to bed. I'm getting pretty tired here.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll probably have to cut this off because it looks like Travis is about to nod off on it.
I am. I woke up at 3:00 this morning. I don't know why.
Yeah, I just got up at my normal 5:00 that I always do, but it seems like I'm a night owl to begin with. I mean, I've always been a night owl, so in a situation like this, my mind has already gone into we're gonna stay up all night.
And mine is like, we should have been in bed 2 hours ago. No,
Yeah.
maybe an hour ago.
Last night, I was ready to go to bed about 8:00. The night before, I was passed out on the couch at 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if you've got a way to tune that thing, that computer, put a few upgrades on it, I bet the 305 probably, especially a Vortec 305, probably runs pretty good with them gears.
Yeah, the gears help out the smaller cubic inch quite a bit.
I can probably guarantee that anybody can get in that truck and they wouldn't be able to tell it was a 305 just by the way it runs. But, all right. Yeah, we're going on an hour and 45 minutes on this one, so it's kind of dying down. I appreciate everybody that's coming in on the comments and watching this.
Thanks for all the comments.
Don't forget, next week we'll be on this guy's channel, Perpetual Projects. If you're not already subscribed to his channel, you better go hit that subscribe button. It'll be 7:00 Tuesday night on Perpetual Projects. Will be our next live.
Yep.
I'm sure
everybody there.
Yeah, I'm sure Quality Control will come up with a good topic. beforehand.
She's pretty. She's pretty on top of that.
Yeah, I'm not. I was headed out to the shop to start this live tonight, and Mrs. Squarebite says, "Do you even have it? What's the topic?" I was like,
Whatever comes up.
whatever we come up with, and because that's kind of where it goes anyway. So, but
A lot of times.
it is nice to have a topic to start out with. So, all right, we'll catch everybody later. I appreciate you guys watching.
See you next
And
week.
see y'all later.
Bye.